When a product gets pushed to a bunch of influencers and you see it, you might see it a lot at first and then maybe never hear about it again. And if you're not in the know, that's probably what you thought happened to the whole modular headphone system from AIAIAI. Of course, if you do know, you know, and this is definitely still a thing. This is going to be my long-term review covering all the stuff that I've picked up from them and stuff that I'm going to pick up here soon. I knew I wanted to get in on this because the last headphones that I bought that were real headphones ended up breaking. The hinge just fucking snapped and I couldn't find a replacement. There was nothing available at the time. So that's really why I was so drawn to these things, because I knew that if something happened, worst case, I can just buy that specific part and be good to go. So I went for probably the cheapest setup that I could possibly get. This is the S03 or the S03 pair of speaker units. They're full, warm, going to be a little bit more bassy, not as accurate in terms of neutral, but still very pleasant to listen to. Headband H01, the cheapest one that they had, and goddamn it, I still love this thing. I use this as my preferred headband for my current setup right now. Earpads, the E05, they're microfiber. They're pretty comfortable, not as comfortable as some of the ones that I ended up landing on, but still definitely enough to kind of get you going. The cable, I think this is the C01, and boy oh boy, I fucking destroyed this thing. I put this in a lot of precarious situations. I use this as my dedicated VR headset cable for quite some time, so it was kinked up in a really weird position. I don't blame the cable for looking like this. Blame me. The biggest drop that they made that really made me want to buy some extra components was this, the H05 headband. This is one of the really cool things about this whole modular system, is that they can release a part like this that really just completely changes the game. What this is a headband with a built-in Bluetooth unit along with the battery. Everything is housed in the actual headband itself, so you can keep on using your speaker units, your earpads, your cable if you really want to, because you can still obviously use the cable. This is just going to give you that wireless experience. Apart from that, this thing was fucking dope, and I picked this up as soon as I possibly could. I'll be honest, I think I have a pretty big head, and these, as much as I like them, were always a little too tight. They had a little bit too much clamping force. I still use them a lot just because I loved this setup. But if you have a big noggin, just keep in mind that this thing might not be big melon friendly. While I was at it, I wanted to get different speaker units just because I already had the warm, full sound. I wanted something a bit more neutral, so I picked these up. These are the S04s, and man, it's amazing just to be able to change one part that completely changes the entire sound. I mean, obviously, they're different speakers, so they're going to sound different. But still, just the fact that you can modify your headphones to sound so drastically different is so fucking cool. And I love this thing, man. I paired those with these. I believe these are the E04 over-ears. I'm only an over-ear user. I did try a couple of the on-ear ones, and it didn't really change my mind about the whole on and over-ear thing. These things are dope. These things are still my daily drivers, and I absolutely love them. I think they might not be in stock anymore. You can probably find them on other websites. The last I checked on AIAIAI's actual website, I couldn't find this specific part number. But definitely, if you can, these things, highly recommend. One of the things that you probably never want to have to rely on, but you know, shit happens sometimes. The customer service, I did have to contact them at the very least once, and that was regarding the H05 headband. I was having some sort of weird issue. Now that I come to think of it, I can't think exactly what it was, but they just had me double check what the issue was, and they were able to send me a brand new pair to replace it. But so far, from my experience dealing with them directly, it's been super nice, no issues, and it's just so refreshing to have parts in stock to replace instead of replacing the whole goddamn thing. Speaking of parts, let me have a little show and tell with you so I can show you how these things have worn over the years. This is some of my oldest stuff that I'll show you. This speaker unit I've had for about 4 years. This is my S03, And I'm going to try to show you all of the worst parts so you can kind of get an idea of how things might wear for you. The worst part is around the edges, but it's not very noticeable, especially if you're using an over-ear pad, because that literally slides on over it. The headbands have worn actually quite well. This is my H01 headband, which I use daily right now. This is probably the one that I've used the most, and that's probably the worst of it. My H05 looks even cleaner. The main thing that does wear is that soft touch coating that you can find on basically most of the surfaces. That does wear in a particular way, but if it does bother you enough, you could just replace the entire thing if you really wanted to. I highly doubt any of that stuff would be covered under warranty, since it is basically just aesthetic. The thing I'm looking forward to the most, which apparently it's already out, it kind of snuck up on me, is going to solve the issue that I had with this S05, in that this is just has a little bit too much clamping force for my head. And that is speaker units with the Bluetooth built into them instead of the headband. That way you can use whatever headband you want. Of course, this has a disadvantage of having to buy brand new speaker units, but I really, really want to give it a shot just because I think it could be the best of both worlds. And if I have an extra set of AIAIAI TMA-2s at the end, it's not the worst thing in the world, so I'm definitely going to give it a shot. I'll leave links to all of the stuff that I talked about down below, but I've been using these things since 2017, and I am still very much happy with the entire system. I don't see myself switching to any other headphones anytime soon. If you care more about heritage, having a name brand that people know, a Sennheiser or something along those lines, maybe these aren't going to be for you. But if you want something that you know is going to be serviceable for quite some time, you want to have a little bit of peace of mind, definitely check these things out. Alrighty, y'all, thanks for watching. Definitely leave a like and subscribe to the channel if any of this stuff was helpful. Other than that, y'all have a good day. See ya.